Welcome to the Spiritual Principles Made Practical podcast. Today, I'm going to be inspired, or I have been inspired, to share about the concept that when things go really well, don't ignore what created that benefit, right? It's like, so I've been meditating, I've been following my inspiration, I've been repeating my mantra, I've been focused on being and all those things, right? And stuff's going well, right? I mean, people are calling me up wanting me to coach them. They're totally enamored of their visceral uplifting experience of working with me when I'm in the present moment and just allowing the whatever flows to come in into the conversation. And it's just going great. And people are contacting me to be on their podcast and wanting to be on my podcast. And just, things are just going well. I mean, my wife is doing better in her health, and it's like, oh my goodness, and it's so tempting to get so excited about all this great stuff that's happening that I need to remind myself this is all happening because I meditate every day, because I do the mantra, because I am focused on being present, and that I need to make sure that I don't, cut off air to the golden goose, if you will, right? I need to sort of re-emphasize that the focus is not on all these things that are wonderful, that I love, and there's so much joy involved, and they're great, and I want to participate in them, and I do, and I will, but not to the extent that I lose sight of what's causing all of that great stuff, right? Because there's more great stuff to yet to allow myself to experience, and so I don't want to I don't want to cut myself off of that. And for a long time, it's interesting that over the years, because I've been meditating every day for over 40 years, it's a while, I mean, I may look like I'm only 10 years old, but I'm really much older. Sorry, sometimes I just crack myself up. What can you do? Where does it all come from? Who knows? But but over the years, I've gotten in meditation that the further along I got, and the more that my the outer world and the inner world line up and match and things go great, that the more effort it was going to take and the more focus I needed to have on what was causing all this benefit and to make sure that I didn't lapse in my meditation practice, for example. And so I'm recording this podcast because I've been inspired to, which is what I've done all along, right? And it's like I don't want to get so enamored of things going well that I forget to continue to do what's causing them to go well and even better. And um, so here I am, and that's what I'm doing. But just in general, for all of us, right? It's it's like don't abandon what got you here, right? And so everybody has things that are going well in their life, and one of the things that we can do that's really helpful is to reflect on, okay, what did I do that created that benefit in my life? And so I can, by understanding more clearly and in greater depth what I did, I could do more of it, right? And so for me, that's in my life, in my world, that's meditation. That's acting on my inspiration. And that's what got me here. And I need to, and I am right here, right now, emphasizing to myself, reminding myself, right? It's like, it's like, who's the hardest person to take advice of? Ourselves, right? Do as I say, not as I do. I'm trying really hard to walk my talk. So that's what got me here is just a dogged habit of meditating every day and doing what I'm inspired to do in meditation. And that's it. And I'm going to just continue to do that as long as it works. And it seems to be working better and better and better through time, not worse and worse and worse. So that's pleased about that as well. So anyway, that's what I'm inspired to share today, and the value. Remember, the value isn't necessarily, in how long or how many pages a book is or how long a podcast is. The value is and how valuable is it to in improving your life. And I can promise you that there's little that's more valuable in improving your life than understanding and taking ownership of what you're doing that's working. When I coach people, right, I tell them, I say, all right, tell me about like some great events in your life, right? Everyone, all the therapists, they want to know about all the problems in your life. I want to know about all the great events in your life, you know? And then we dig into that and we say, okay, well, what did you do there? What happened? What was going on there? How did you create that so that people could take greater ownership, right, of what they're doing right? More than 40 years ago, I created a spiritual program, and in the essence of it is what works works. And the concept is that do what works for you. Forget about whether or not it works for anybody else. Who cares? It works for you. And so many people, I've seen it. I've seen it, and it's horrible, and it drives me nuts. Is that they give up doing what's working to do what other people say is working for them or should be working or works for most other people. Forget about what works for them. Forget about what works for most other people. The only thing that matters is what works for you. Do that and don't let anybody talk you out of it. Because in my experience, people will try and talk you out of it to try and sell you something and stuff. But like I'll never do that, right? So I mean if doing a headstand for 5 minutes a day, makes your entire life great, then you know what? Do a headstand for 5 minutes a day. It's I don't care what it is, right? If it works for you, don't fix it. And then you'll experience, greater and greater success and vitality and joy and all that stuff that, I mean, like who doesn't want more vitality and joy? It's like I haven't found anybody yet, It's like, okay. So anyway, that's what I'm inspired to share. I offer coaching, right? Because I can tell you that the majority of people don't have a conscious awareness of what they're doing that's working, right? And when you start to realize what you're doing that's working and how that creates win-win things in your life and how that enhances everything that's good in your life, boy, man, things get better fast. It's wonderful. And I mean, and yeah, sure, it's gonna bring up problems and stuff, and you work through them, and I can help with that too, right? Because trust me, I've uncovered lots and lots of problems, that I've been carrying around, been problematic for me, and I've become pretty adept at dealing with them, and so I can help with that too. So anyway, if you're interested in that coaching, you can contact me at scottfriedman40 at gmail.com, SCOTTFRIEDMAN 40 at gmail.com. I've coached people on, they've written books based on, what I told them to do. And, they told me they wanted to write a book. I said, well, here's how, do blah, 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 blah. And they did that and book was done. It's like whatever brings you joy is what I want to support. And whatever works for you is what I want to support. I'm also looking to interview people that want to share their win-win experiences because the more that we advance win-win thinking in the world, the better it is for everybody. And so if you have either a win-win experience that you'd like to share in being an interview guest on the podcast, or you'd like to work with me real time on the podcast to discover win-win activities that you've created in your life, we can do that too, right? Because either way is fine. The idea is just that what we focus on grows, and if we focus on identifying and implementing win-win solutions, then we get better, the whole world gets better, everybody benefits. It's just couldn't be better. So anyway, I want to promote that all I can, and so you can contact me and we can do that as well. My books are available on Amazon. You can find links to them on my website, www.thoughtcoachingbyscott.com. And remember, do what works, do what works, do what works, do what works. And don't forget what got you here. All righty. Be well.